I'm Zane with Zane Engineers Life. Today we've got an amazing young man in. His name is Brandon Tomasovich.
Yes, sir.
How close was I?
Kind of butchered it, but it's okay.
All right, introduce yourself.
My name is Brandon Tomasovich. I'm going to school for mechanical engineering at KSU. Almost done on a senior semester here. And I actually met Zane kind of job hopping, going around to different engineering firms, introducing myself. And he invited me to come on here and share a little bit about me and more about his company.
Gotcha. That sounds awesome. So what made you go out and knock on doors?
Okay, so very unconventional. Sat down with my grandfather. He's 85. Sat down with him about a week and a half ago, and I wasn't getting anywhere with just submitting applications. So I talked to him. He was like, "Well, you got to do something that your other internship students are not doing." So I thought about that for about a day or so, and I was like, well, door knocking. Nobody wants to door knock. Sales guys don't even like door knock. They do it because they need money, right? Well, nobody is going door to door, even to the small firms, big firms. Some of them don't let you in, let me tell you, but that's really what.
What was your hit rate? I'm just curious. How many doors did you knock on?
I think that day or that week?
You tell me.
That day, I think I knocked on 8. I don't know how many I've done in a week. Probably.
How many total?
Gosh. Like maybe
100?
Oh, 1,000? No, I just started this like a week ago. Come on.
Okay, so a week and you've done 20?
Yeah, I would say 20, 25.
Okay, you knocked on 20 doors. How many people have you gotten into and actually spoken to?
I'd say maybe
able to add or leave a resume.
Oh, leave a resume? Just about all of them, maybe 80%.
Okay.
Actually talking to me or emailing me or reaching back out, I would say probably maybe 5 to 6.
So you got 5 of 20.
Yes.
25%.
Yes. But that can also mean no as well, those 5 or 6.
Well, no, let's back up. So if you'd applied for 25 jobs online and you'd been like the rest of the sheep and you click the apply button on LinkedIn, Jobs, or Indeed, how many responses do you get out of 25?
Oh, man, probably 1 in 100 at most.
Maybe 1 out of 100, right?
They don't really respond. I mean, yeah.
And you're telling me you went and knocked on 20 doors and got 6 responses?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And we're engineers and we like data, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So if something happens more for doing less, so would you encourage someone to do that more?
Absolutely.
Okay.
After I'm, successful, but
sure. After you get your job to clear it all
then
out,
I'll
right?
Yeah, of course.
100%. Okay. All right. So we have some clear data here that if you're a sheep, do what you're told, and sit at your house and don't work very hard and click the apply and hope button, that you might get 1 out of 100 responses.
Maybe.
But if you get off your ass and you spend a few minutes on Google searching for engineering firms and you go beat on their doors and hand out some resumes, you might get 6 out of 20.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. That's pretty amazing.
I mean, that's like, what, 26%? 28%? Right around there?
Average direct mail response is less than 2%. Average email open rate is less than 5%.
So I'm already doing 4 times better than the average.
Crushing it. 100%. And the other thing is you probably spend a minute looking at each of those firms, making sure they're somewhere you want to work.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
How desperate you are, you might have just applied to everything.
No.
But my guess was you probably went, hey, that's a cool gig.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you've already narrowed down those 100 to people you might actually want to work for.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something a lot of people are missing. Hey, I'm just going to apply and hope. It's a numbers game. It's like swiping right on Tinder or on Bumble, right? It's just a numbers game. I'm just going to, well, what are you going to end up with? Probably not something you want to end up with, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, in return for your awesomeness,
thank
we
you.
don't have any intern spots, but I've offered to let's answer some questions.
Absolutely, man.
So hopefully you have some impossible, amazing, hard questions, and then we're just going to talk through them and put them out here for everybody and see if we can help one another. That sound good?
Yes. There is some generic ones, obviously, but they're going to be beneficial for both me and you.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. First question. Start the topic. In what discipline did you earn your PE? And what areas are you competent in? Why did you pursue a PE?
Well, first off, why? Why is this important to you?
This is going to help future students explore if they want to get a PE. So right now, why would they want to get a PE when they could work for many of these major firms that, they're exempt from this actually. They don't even need a PE anymore unless they want to own their own practice or have a smaller practice. It's the only reason to get a PE at
so
this
your
point.
main question and your real question is, hey, talk to me about getting your professional engineering license and whether it's worth it or not.
That's the second and third question.
All right. So let's package them all together for a minute. Okay. Why would you want to get your stamp? Why would you want to become a professional engineer? Okay. And as you set them in, you go, if I go work in aerospace or building robotics for automated assembly lines or work in the car plant, no one's going to have a stamp, worry about it, mention it, or any of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So why would we want to do that? Well, first off, hopefully your school requires you to take the Fundamentals of Engineering exam to get your EIT. Now, I'm extremely old, but when I was at Mississippi State, we were all required to take it. We didn't have to pass it, but we did have to take it. Now, I know at Georgia Tech now, one of the requirements is you have to pass and get your EIT.
Interesting.
Okay. I highly encourage, while you're junior or senior in engineering school, to take the Fundamentals of Engineering exam. And whether you pass or not, go take the stupid thing. Right? If you're in mechanical, take it in mechanical. If you're in civil, take it in civil. Whatever. Take your discipline, go take the exam.
Makes sense.
And you will, first off, confirm you actually know how to do something.
That is true. You could have just been useless the whole time. So.
Well, no, it's more of a... so one of the things that you guys are facing is imposter syndrome. It's crushing you. If you're under 30, you're getting crushed by imposter syndrome. You don't believe you can do it. You don't believe you're good enough. I need somebody to check my work. Am I sure? Am I sure? Can you just look at this one more time? Are we sure? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what you've got to do to get out of that is you've got to stack up small wins, right?
Yeah.
So what if we come in and we take an exam, which is a Fundamentals of Engineering exam, and we pass the living shit out of it? What do we just tell ourselves?
That we can do it, and we have a certification to do it now.
Yeah, and we got a cool thing to put out beside our name. We
That's
put
true.
EIT, and everybody's like, what's that mean?
Yeah.
Like, well, that means engineering training, and then all the jokes start about, why are you still in training? You
Yeah,
college,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's
And
good.
now you have something to talk about somebody with.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So for a very small fee, we can check ourselves and make sure we actually know how to do something. We can get it out of the way. And now we got an option later on, if we do decide to get our stamp, we don't have to worry about that stupid test.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now let me talk it through, because I have an engineer on staff, and she's been trying to get her PE for a long time, but she's scared of taking the Fundamentals of Engineering EIT test.
Oh, that should not scare her. That test is not meant to break you.
I know this, but some people don't like to take tests.
Okay.
So she's actually been waiting out the exemption to not have to take it.
No way. Tell her to go take it.
We've tried. We've had her sign up for it many times.
Man.
But again, it's just one more hurdle, and if
Yeah.
you put more hurdles in front of yourself,
Seems
then you're
impossible.
less likely to overcome them, right? So you want to clear those out as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
Cheap, it's easy, go do it with your buddies. Some schools actually require it. So we've got the front end of it out of the way. So to get your PE in most states, you just need a couple things. You need that one test. You need the super hard PE test.
Yep.
You got to take, you got to fill out a massive application and a whole bunch of references and things like that. And you need about 4 to 5 years of experience. And you need an ABET accredited engineering degree, which most people already have.
Most people, yeah.
Okay. So we've already got 2 of those things out of the way. If we ever want to get our stamp.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now your question was, why would I want to get my stamp?
And also, why would you advise young engineers, if you would even advise them to get one?
Well, so here's the thing. When you are at about the 4 to 5 year mark of experience, okay, so you've been out, you've worked for a little while, you've done some stuff. Now, if you're like 70% of people, you actually have 4 years of 1 year of experience.
4 years of one.
Because you get out and you do this thing, and you just do that thing. And then you go home and watch Netflix, and you go chill, and you go hang out, and you settle,
Yeah.
and you get complacent, and you get fat and happy, and your skills erode. And then, 2 to 3 years in, you're like the 50 people I've interviewed in the past 3 weeks. They can't do a free body diagram. They can't get a force to ground. They can't figure out how to size a bolt. Oh, I used to know how to do this. You got a degree. Some of you guys have got master's degrees.
Yeah.
You can't figure out a force diagram. Why? Because you haven't been doing it.
True.
Okay. So let's go back to that for a minute. We've got 3, 4, 5 years of experience, hopefully of different things. Because that's actually one of the requirements of getting your PE is progressive experience.
Which makes sense, which is why you need the 3
They will
PE
not give
references.
you credit for 4 years of doing the same shit.
Yeah.
That's 1 year of experience. 4 times.
I see
Not
what you're
4
saying.
years of experience.
I see what you're
Okay?
saying.
So one of the reasons to stay on this path is to keep you actually doing things. To keep you progressing your path, keep you challenging yourself, keep you pushing forward. And then when you hit that 4 to 5 year mark, if you do have 4 to 5 years of true experience, you've already got that other little test out of the way.
True.
Okay. So we're just going to fill out an application. We're going to go get some references. And one of the misnomers is I have to work under a PE to get good experience.
Absolutely.
Not the case.
Really?
Nobody cares.
I did not know that.
You have to have a PE confirm you have experience. You have to have 3 PEs as references. But but you don't have to have worked under them.
I didn't know
Complete
that.
misnomer. Everybody gets that wrong.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Okay. Completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually hit me up, and if I knew you as a character witness, so to speak, I could be one of your references.
That's wild.
Okay, and then you can have someone else who actually worked with you confirm your experience.
Huh.
Because you have to have a reference for each section of experience. Like, I worked at Lockheed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who says you worked at Lockheed?
I see what
Larry
you're
does.
saying.
So he's your reference for your job at Lockheed.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be a PE.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And then I can go
that's
get
powerful.
a PE who knows me from church or coming by, or, I took a class from him. And I can get him to be a reference. And I need 3 PEs, and then I need all my experience confirmed.
Mm-hmm. Which should be
Might
easy to
take
do.
you 6 or 7 references.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to work under a PE.
I didn't know
so
that.
that's out of the way.
Yeah.
All right, so we have 4 to 5 years of experience. It's progressive. We've already got the exam. The application we just fill out.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies, the secretaries will help you do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And now the question is, why would I want to do this?
Yes.
Okay. So the PE exam is really, really hard. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Super difficult. Take you a year to study for it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's think. I'm 4 to 5 years out. I've been working. And now I'm going to stop for a moment, and I'm going to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go back in the books.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to relearn everything. But now I've seen it. Now I've actually done it. Now it makes sense.
You can connect pieces.
Well, I want you to think about it. When you go work for a semester and you come back to school, don't you learn a little bit more in class because now you know what it actually looks like in the real world?
100%. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Now imagine putting that final stamp on your career where you actually prove you're an engineer and you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's like the final seal of approval of, yes, you're an actual engineer. You actually are good at this. You
Absolutely.
actually honed your craft. You actually have skill. You actually have ability. Right?
Yeah. So,
and now I got a cool thing to put at the end of my name.
So your answer is more about self-development, actually.
100%.
So it's even less about the actual stamp
The other
that you
cool
get.
part of it is now that I have my stamp, I'm required to take 15 hours of continuing education every year.
So now you have to continue your education.
I get to. Watch your language. Right?
That's true. Yeah, because then you might not have the PE if you don't do that extra training. Correct?
Well, you lose it if you don't have your continuing education, right?
Okay.
You can't even renew it. All right, so it's something that makes you go back in the books, makes you go back and get smart, makes you hone your craft a little bit more, makes you a craftsman now instead of a yahoo, makes you a craftsman instead of a journeyman.
True.
Puts a seal of approval on it, gives you some cool letters at the end of your name, and every once in a while you might actually get some respect for it, right?
Absolutely. That's what.
The other thing is sometimes in a lot of companies they have a spot where if you get a certification, you get a little more money.
Like an FE certification
Could
or
be
a
anything.
PE license?
If you read the language sometimes, one of the triggers for getting a raise could be more years of experience, could be hitting your management by objectives, depending on how big the company is, or you got another certification.
Interesting.
I know a company, I took a 3-hour forklift cert. Didn't have a fucking thing to do with what I was doing in engineering. I got a couple of extra $100.
That's awesome.
Right?
I mean, why not? You know what I mean?
So you look for this. So now I've got a PE. It's just like going back and adding a master's, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to make a little bit more money. You got more education. You got more experience. You got more stuff going on. And it opens the door for you for other things. And this is the final bit of the answer to your question. Okay, if I have my stamp, I can start my own company.
Which is, I think, is the most important piece, in my opinion. But I wanted your opinion on that, actually.
Well, we'll get into that in a second. Let's make sure we come back to that question.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, it's, do I get my stamp or not? Okay, well, we've talked about it makes you hone your craft.
Absolutely.
It gives you those cool letters at the end of the name. And then it also gives you the ability, if you want to offer your services to the public. Okay. In almost all states, to use the word engineer in public or to offer your services to the public, you have to be licensed in that state, or it is illegal to do. So if you right now started an engineering and CAD company and put your shingle out there and put your name out, and you didn't have your license,
that's illegal. That's what you're
technically,
saying.
yes. Now, not everybody's coming to get you. They may not notice you doing some CAD for somebody's shed in the back thing, but at some point, somebody's coming for you.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was actually illegal to practice like that.
Correct. In almost all states. Now, where does the industry exemption come in? If I'm Lockheed and I'm working as an engineer on the C-5 aircraft, that doesn't have anything to do with the public.
Absolutely. I mean,
I'm working in the plant. Industry exempt.
I even know that industry exempt people, eventually they do have like a lead engineer, project engineer that does oversee that. So there might be 17 different people that worked on it without a stamp, but they still will have one person at least have a set of eyes on it just to make sure before they produce that to the public though.
Well, and let's take it back for a minute. So it's kind of like a licensed profession, okay? Mm-hmm. So what do you have to get licenses for in most states? Doctor,
Lawyer.
it's probably kind of important. Lawyer,
Healthcare workers.
A lot of insurance. You have to be certified by the state.
True.
Right? These are things where we're providing some service to the public. Now, the second part of that is it's also a trust profession. So, like for me, when I start my company, I don't have to prove to anybody I can do engineering. I have a stamp.
They know you can do
I'm
engineering.
now trusted. As long as I have the stamp for the state that's there, they know I can do it. So I don't have to prove to anybody I can do it. I already proved it to them. I got a stamp. So that's another part of that.
Interesting. It's a great point.
All right, cool. All right, so your next question, what was it related to? It was, do I start my own business?
Well, that's actually further down the list. Let's go to number 5. 4. How was Phoenix Engineering LLC founded, and what is its core visions? Why did you start your company? That's a better question.
Why is this important?
Well, as people that need to start their own business or want to,
Okay.
I want to see why you started yours. What's the reason?
We're going to move into in a minute, would you start your own company or should you?
Later down the
Kind of
list.
the route you're heading here?
Yeah.
Okay. So Phoenix is actually a corporation, so it's Phoenix Engineering Consulting Inc. It originally started as a sole proprietorship.
Okay.
And
That means one person, right?
no, it just means you're a sole proprietorship, you're not incorporated, you are the person.
Okay.
The person is the entity, you're a sole proprietor.
Gotcha.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So if something goes down or bad, it's reflected on me personally.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Gotcha.
Now, here's one negative to getting your professional engineering license. Mm-hmm. When you put the stamp on the page, you're personally liable for whatever you do.
Absolutely. Because you
so
signed
if you're
up.
a multimillionaire and you put the stamp on the page, you just created a massive amount of risk.
Because you're not an LLC. You can't put the risk on your business.
Well, it doesn't matter if you have a company. You actually are personally liable for what you did. You're personally saying, I, as Zane Buchalowski PE, say this is good in the state of whatever, Florida, Tennessee, Georgia. Okay?
Interesting.
I can be held personally liable for whatever goes down. Now, what's probably going to happen between me and whatever the problem is that has occurred, there's probably 5 or 6 insurance policies.
True.
If you're smart. One of the first things you've got to look for is professional liability insurance. Everyone who's licensed has it. Insurance agents, lawyers have malpractice, doctors have malpractice.
Absolutely.
Errors and omissions is another name for it. So you can get insurance to cover you as an engineer doing things.
Okay.
Now, the next question is, okay, you were a sole proprietorship, why did you incorporate? Okay. Well, at one point, I started hiring people.
And then you cannot.
That's the time to form a corporation, because as a sole proprietorship, if you worked for me and Brandon messed something up, I'm liable.
Okay.
If Brandon works for the corporation and messes something up, the corporation's liable.
And you can now separate your personal from your business, basically.
I can separate everything but me putting that stamp on the page.
Makes sense. That's actually...
Stamp on the page is still personal, but as long as I have a bigger insurance policy for the company than I have for me, or I have a bigger insurance policy than I have personal assets, then that's going to be the target, not me.
You're safeguarded.
Okay. And it's another thing, like you're working with big corporations. Like a lot of people hire us to be the PE so that we'll be the ones liable for it.
Makes sense.
Well, dude, you're a Lockheed. You have more money than we do.
Yeah.
They're not coming after me, they're coming after you. But a lot of people don't understand is in any situation where something goes bad, everyone gets sued.
Really?
You get shotgun sued. If anyone had anything to do with the project whatsoever at any point, everyone gets sued. And then they slowly pick off the ones that get thrown out.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
We can have a whole liability insurance discussion later.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Right.
So
I don't think that's good content for the kids coming up.
So
There's lots of issues with the company and the liabilities and all those kind of things, and you can kind of get to those as you start to think about putting your company together. We can get to that.
Gotcha.
The more important thing that I think you originally asked me was how we started and why we got started. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was working for a large consulting and inspection firm and helping them build their own engineering department.
What industry?
They were in a lot of different ones, mainly
Okay.
NDT and engineering. So we were doing a lot of work in paper mills, chemical
Gotcha.
plants, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That makes sense.
And I helped them grow there and build their engineering department to a nice point. And then we were getting very aggressive trying to take over the world. And it was a company that was built very strongly around territorialism. Every department was separate, and they literally pitted against each other. And that led to some nice, exciting internal politics. Right about the same time, I was having a lot of trouble trying to get compensation tied to what my performance was. And basically, everything turned itself over in a day, and I took a political knife right in the back and was let go. Okay?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it worked out amazing.
Oh, that's true.
None of the stuff that happened later in my life would have ever happened if that hadn't occurred. So this is a cool spot of things happen for you, not to you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. So anyway, so I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I'm like, well, do I want to keep being like a manager, a business builder, a sales guy, lead engineer, all those kind of things, or do I want to be an engineer? Well, my intent was to one day teach. So I said, well, I need to go back and hone my craft a little bit.
Yeah.
And actually, I got job offers in both areas. One to help build a department in a business, and one to be an engineer. Okay, and I've got other stories out there. You can check out other content where I actually talk through those kind of things. But I ended up taking the gig being the engineer, and started getting calls from old clients. Hey, we need you to do this. I don't do that anymore.
But you had
And
connections.
like, yeah, you do. And I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, yeah, you do. And I'm like, no, I don't. And jokingly, one drove out and put a bag of money in my porch. And so I started my company that afternoon.
Nice.
My young son and I drove down to the local county area and got a business license. And that's where my sole proprietorship was formed.
That is cool.
All right, so let's keep going.